Hey everyone, this is my discussion board post where we give our thoughts on everything we went over in week 3 about medical exams and the fitness standards and how that promotes safety in the fire service. One thing I picked up on when I first started reading the book in Dr. Lovett's lecture was the importance of limiting the risk factors that we control. Cigarette smoking, I know years ago, seemed to be a big thing. There was everybody, even in society, was doing it, and everybody in the fire service seemed to do it. So, like, you see all sorts of pictures of 20, 30 years ago where guys after a fire were just sitting against the truck smoking a cigarette. Society in general, it seems to be on a downward trend, and that's kind of reflected in the fire service. Especially in the fire service, you're seeing more and more departments as a condition of employment ban cigarette smoking or any type of nicotine, whether it be smoking or smokeless. Here, as a condition of our employment, we are supposed to refrain from any type of smokeless or smoking tobacco on or off duty. And another risk factor is that simple one we can do is just cleaning our gear after a fire. It's been a really big thing pushed here, as far as we don't get a lot of fires, but when we do get them, our battalion chief especially, first thing he wants us to do when we get back to the station is go get a shower, get all that stuff off, and then he wants us in our backup gear and get our gear we were in fighting the fire washed, and so especially our hoods, because we're seeing where that's being absorbed. Other risk factors that the material brought up was diabetes. I think just overall in the fire service, we're trying to push a healthier lifestyle. It's kind of hard to do. Our crew does try to cook here, but a lot of times it seems like if we're late getting to the store, it ends up being a pizza night, which too many pizza nights can be bad, that's for sure. So just little things that we can control is going to help us years down the road when we're ready to retire, and hopefully we can get out of the fire service healthier than what we started it at. Some of the other things that kind of caught my interest or piqued my interest were just how specific like the NFPA standards and OSHA standards were as far as outlining medical stuff. I thought it was the first thing in 1500 section 10 is how it outlines that candidates shall be medically evaluated and qualified for duty, and through an annual examination. And then it references 1582, and then the book kind of gives us more material on 1582, how it tells us how we're supposed to, what the exam is supposed to entail, including a blood and urine test, eye, hearing, lung capacity test, chest x-ray, and physical exam, and the following OSHA respiratory standards. It seems like a lot, and I know when we get annual physicals every year, it does seem like a while to go through everything. But I thought in Dr. Lovett's thing how the physical exam, especially, how it was cool that they caught those bloody polyps that could have prevented cancer down the years down the road for those two guys that he was talking about. And that just shows the importance of getting a physical exam and having your department take the time and invest the money, because this is the guys and girls of the fire service. Their people are their primary asset. So having those annual examinations can help them down the road too. I thought it was also really cool and I've never really thought about it, given much thought to it, about how they stated who should conduct exam. The books kind of states this, and Dr. Lovett really hounds on it with his comparison of you going into the doctor and telling them that you were just on a RIT team and had a firefighter rescue, and then the doctor kind of looks like you have 3 eyes or something, not understanding like what you're talking about. And just getting that person, I didn't really think about it, but just getting that person to that understands what you're doing and can kind of relate to the jobs of the fire service is really important, because you can go to any doctor, and if you're semi-healthy, they'll sign off on you to go back to work, and they may not understand what you're going back to or what you could be asked to do. So I hadn't really given any thought to it, but just getting that right doctor to that understands what you're going is extremely important, because that could mean you being cleared and not being quite ready to go back and do this job could mean something bad happening on the fire ground for you. 1582 outlining the 13 job tasks that you have to perform. Just looking at them, so things like wearing an SCBA and firefighter and doing firefighter tasks, exposure to toxins, climbing stairs, wearing all the gear, and hose deployment and search, stuff like that. Just the very basics of firefighting, and just keeping that in mind when they're doing physicals that are up to 1582. That's just very basic stuff that we should all be able to do. And kind of tying in with the OSHA thing, the line of duty death we went over as part of our other discussion board. If the firefighter that was the victim in the scenario had like a physical that was up to 1582, they may have found something that would kind of disqualified her and prevented her from being killed on that training fire. Was also interesting to me how 1582 outlines the two different categories for new hires. If you fall into a category A, you're automatically eliminated. Category B, you can still work in the fire service as long as it doesn't present a risk. So you've got those two categories that if you're placed in either one of those, you're a red flag. But like Dr. Lovett brought it up, as soon as you're hired, there is no category anymore. The standards are flexible and completely different, and you really can't be eliminated unless they can prove really just cause that you can't fit for duty. So that kind of brings it upon ourselves to make sure that we give ourselves some self-responsibility, make sure we're doing what we need to be doing, and continuing to eat healthy and work out when we're supposed to, and just kind of give us that self-responsibility. And then 1583 outlining our fitness standards. Here we got pretty good workout facilities. The department has an SOG that states you can work out before noon, and then after 5. Actually, that's depending on your lieutenant. That's pretty flexible. If you get your stuff done and you didn't get a workout done in the morning, a lot of times as long as your stuff's done, your lieutenant won't care if you go down there between 1 and 5, as long as there's nothing planned on the calendar. So just having that lieutenant and a department that stresses fitness is key to our health and our safety, and just helps out along the road. And I'm glad to work at a department that does have physicals every year and does promote the fitness, because I feel like they're looking out for me, and they're also looking out for themselves, because like I said earlier, we are their best asset. So this is just a few things that I picked up on with everything that we read this week. I appreciate any comments. Thanks. Bye.